sit rep. It's morning of day 7, Sunday morning, and I'll get most of the way home today if everything goes well. It's exactly 8 o'clock and had a good night, as you'd expect in a motel. Put some oil in the car. It needed another pint, so it remains to be seen whether the lower grade or the lower numerical grade oil, 30 weight versus a 60 weight, is contributing to accelerated oil consumption. Just felt a little bit too much oil this leg, but I'll evaluate that when I get to Perth. Alright, it's going to need an oil change in any case. The oil's looking pretty dark, and this would be, you know, the sort of interval it's not used to. According to the logbooks, it seems to have been getting an oil change every 50 kilometres, because it really hasn't done much work in the past 15 years. So that's what the day brings. There is some weather around. Car's wet this morning. There's a likelihood that I'm going to get a wet arse when I'm camping tonight. But that's one way to finish the trip. It's a challenging night in the tent. Alright, going to get going now. One thing I didn't mention, which was quite strange yesterday, quite surreal actually. I was on the 90 mile straight, and I'd done about half an hour, about 50 kilometres. Anyway, I was startled by the image of a person out of nowhere running towards the side of the road. And as you know, the Nullarbor there's not much ground cover or tree coverage or a place to hide a car, and he was bouncing what looked like an AFL ball as he was running, and then he picked up the ball and started jogging down the road. And there was literally, leading up to that point, there was no car sitting on the side of the road broken down, or he just came out of nowhere and was going to nowhere. Didn't have a backpack on or anything, any supplies, was just running along the side of the road carrying a football. I actually had to question whether I'd actually been hallucinating, because it was just surreal. But yeah, the things you see, hey? That was weird. And there's always, I've only done the trip 3 times, but the 3 times across the Nullarbor, there's always been a cyclist on a bicycle. And this time there was what could have been a husband and wife, fairly mature in age, I'd say 65 plus, just slowly cycling across the Nullarbor plain. Take your life into your hands doing that, in my opinion. I don't want to be disparaging of any truck drivers, but they do long hours, and it's not unusual for them to get a bit drowsy and lose concentration. So anyhow, yeah, so today I'm thinking of maybe getting to a place called Southern Cross. That gives me a short hop home the next day. So it'll be tent tonight. Yeah, so I want to push out another, say, 600 kilometres. Alright, signing off. Okay, well, about 30 minutes in, and about 15 minutes ago, the stumble came back. I mentioned it, and it happened a couple of days ago. Just randomly, all power lost, and as quick as it goes away, it comes back. So it's a stumble. It's not a misfire. It's a cut-out stumble. I need help diagnosing this, folks. It's baffling me. Here's what I do know. Both times it's happened, the car was, only 10 minutes into the journey, so you might argue it's not up to operating temp. It happens under light throttle. Full throttle, it's never happened. Both times I've given the ignition key a slight tweak, just in case there's something in there, and it hasn't stumbled since I did that, and that happened on both occasions. Could it be something funny in the ignition barrel, or is that just a coincidence? Now, when I looked at the carburetor yesterday, I didn't take the air cleaner off, so it was just, you know, a cursory glance underneath the air cleaner. It looks like it's never been apart, and I haven't found any receipts for carburetor kit or overhaul of carburetor. So what it could be is some crap in the float bowl, the carburetor. Just you know, hit a bump or something and it dislodges it, and then it gets sucked through and it momentarily completely blocks the fuel. That I don't know. That feels really unlikely. Yeah, it could be a cough, as in a fuel-related issue, but it could also be a low-tension ignition problem. I'll probably favour that. So when I get home, I'll put a new condenser in it. New set of points, and I'll do a carburetor overhaul. Not a priority because I've got to get the Model T on the road. I'm planning on heading down in September, down south in the Model T for a week to do an Australia-wide veteran car rally. It'll be my first time spending any time with a Model T Ford. I think most people will be trailering theirs down. I'm going to try and drive mine. It's about 250 kilometres at 55 to 60 kilometres per hour. Should be interesting. And yeah, so I've still got a bunch of work I need to do on it. The carburetor is in pieces at the moment. I've got to reassemble that. I'm waiting on some POR 15 paint. And then the last job, after I've reassembled the radiator hoses and all of those accessories, you know, the fan and fan belt, and done cotter pins on the front end, I'll be going through the rear axle. In the rear axle there's the potential for there to be a thrust washer, which could be made out of Babbitt if it's the original one, and Babbitt's a very soft metal, and if that Babbitt thrust washer fails, it throws Babbitt through your axle for a start, but it's there to keep the axle assembly together properly. If you lose the rear axle, you lose brakes, and that's not something I wish to do. The handbrake is a metal on metal style affair. It's only designed to hold the car on an incline, which it doesn't do, so I have to go through that as well. It's got a really big chock, a wood chock in the rear trunk that the previous owner obviously used to chock a wheel when he parked the car. Yeah, so anyway, that's the Model T. I digressed. The priority is getting Model T going, not doing a whole bunch of work on this thing. Okay, well it hasn't done, the reason I've been talking for so long, I was trying to see if it was going to do its stutter. No, didn't do it, hasn't done it. Okay, I'm about 40 kilometres out of Norseman, and these trees are always impressive. I'd love to know if they're a eucalypt or something else, an acacia or... They look really sort of escher. Yeah, the stumbling is occasional since last time, and it's been about an hour and a quarter. It's stumbled about a dozen times. I think it may be load dependent, because when I pick the speed up, it seems less likely to do it. But again, it's intermittent, so that could just be playing the odds. Strange. Okay, I'm just leaving Norseman. It's Lake Cowlin. I would have thought in winter it would have some water in it, but there you go. So, she wasn't running all that well in that last leg. Sorry, he didn't mean to misgender the car. So what I've done is when I stopped, I took the low tension wires off the coil and cleaned the contacts there and made sure. Touch wood, it hasn't stumbled. I also got some carburetor cleaner, just the the dodgy stuff that you stick in the tank. So I've got that on board now as well. And I fattened up the fuel mixture just a little bit, a quarter of a turn. We'll see how that goes. It feels a bit better. Should be okay. Okay, sit rep. About 130 kilometres from Coolgardie. I'm going to call that intermittent fault resolved. It's a big call, but been driving for half an hour now. Not a sign of a stutter. So given that I changed 3 things, I'm still going to call that it was the low tension circuit. Here's why. It did the occasional stutter before I did the tune, so you can rule the tune out. So the fact that I fattened the mixture up just a little bit is irrelevant. The second is I put the carby cleaner in the tank. But yesterday I had a clear day. There was not a stutter yesterday at all. So, and that was with the tune-up as well. So rule out the carburetor. It's not the carburetor. It's ignition. Yeah, so I must have had a poor contact on one of those terminals on the coil, because she's running sweet as. Okay, we're coming into Widgie Mulfa. It just so happens to be my least favourite town. I had a huge drama here when I rode my motorcycle across country. I was on fumes, so literally a litre or 2. Can't remember, it might have even been half a litre left. And there's signs coming in here where all the services are, and this town has fuel service. And I just passed a sign there that showed that this town has a fuel service. But guess what? It doesn't actually have a fuel service. You'll note this road is nice and new. When I rocked up there, all they were doing was serving cakes and morning teas to the highway crew that were building the road. No fuel. And when I said, why don't you have fuel? They have Bowsers and everything, but they all look broken and busted. Oh, we lost our fuel contract. He goes, we've got a few jerry cans out the back, but we've had a busy weekend and they're all empty. So yeah, I was gutted. Fortunately, I carried a 2-litre little jerry can of fuel with me, and it just got me to the next town. I had to take a deviation through to Kalgoorlie instead of Coolgardie, but I was so peeved. So we're about to see whether the service station has got its fuel contract back, because that was March and it's now July. Maybe he did mention it to the manager that they need to get a fuel contract sorted out. I'm going to just drive in here for shits and giggles. The Widgimultha Roadhouse. Yeah. That's what you got. Pump out of order and no diesel. Please see staff inside. So it's literally a freaking cafe. Awesome. That's awesomeness. Yeah, so I was going to do a public service and put some gaffer tape over the signage that shows there's fuel up here. But then I was a bit concerned, well, what if they've addressed the situation? Anyway, so that's Widgimultha. Don't blink or you miss it. Catch you later. Okay, just filled up at Coolgardie, historic town, established in the late 1800s with a big gold rush out here. Got some fuel economy consistency for a change, which is cool. 8.3 litres to the 100, and it hasn't stumbled or stuttered since I did that ad hoc on a repair. Okay, let's get some more kilometres under the belt. Sitrep. It's 3:30 and I've found a wiki camp, which is let me see, it's 75 kilometres from here. So there'll be a fuel stop up at Merredin, which is about 40 kilometres from here. So all in, that's going to be about an hour. So I'll get in at roughly 4:30, which would be perfect. This leg from Coolgardie has been pretty decent. The road's been, you know, crappy from Coolgardie to Southern Cross, but now it's smoothed out very nicely and I'm making quite good time. 90 to 95 kilometers an hour. One minor stuff up, and I'll probably pay for it at the Bowser, is I had left the handbrake not all the way on, just second click. And imagine my surprise when I reached down and found the handbrake on it a little bit. Yeah, so we'll see what that means. It's going to be a chilly night tonight in the $14.10. I contemplated driving all the way home. At current rate, I'd be home by 7:30 p.m. But that's 2 hours of night driving, and I have an aversion to smashing into a kangaroo. This place has got kangaroos everywhere, and the lighting system isn't fantastic. But no, it's this segment, it's performed admirably. Really happy with it. It's run like a sewing machine. A little bit of road work here. Anyway, I'm going to put you down and get back to it. Okay, sit rep. I've fueled up at Meriden, and I'm on my way to the campsite. I've got about 10 kilometres until the turn off. Yeah, the handbrake issue was a non-issue. I didn't chew any more juice than I would have expected. So it mustn't have been dragging much. So again, my favourite time of the day. That's a beautiful view over there of the sun trying to break through the clouds, just overlooking this beautiful plain. Chilly. I've been chilly all day. I'm not necessarily dressed for the occasion, but I've had the heating on some of the day. I'm wearing shirt and shorts again. Alright, we'll catch up at the campsite. Okay, we're going bush. It's 2.2 kilometres from where we are now. It's called Bandy Lake, Baandee. And what I did like about it was it's got toilets, obviously, that's a bonus. But intriguingly, it's got showers, and it's on a lake, so that could be some good bird life. It's pretty rough. That front hub's taking a bit of a pounding. Just slow her down a bit. There's a lake up in front. We're at 1.8 k's to go. Washboard corrugations. If I go right over here, that's a bit better. So always on the lookout for a decent camping spot close to home, and this one sort of fits the bill of that. It's about 2 hours or 200 kilometres to home from here. I'll do the exact distance calculation and play it back. somewhat of a ski lake. Meters. Bunny rabbits just going ape shit crazy across the track. A camper in a caravan. And not much else. Someone's camping here. Pitch somewhere over here. That'll do. Okay, so I shall pitch my tent just there, probably on the other side of the car. This is a free camp. Checked out the toilet block. It lives up to its promise of toilets. Showers are cold showers only though, unfortunately. Beautiful view. The sun's going to go down over there. And there's one guy and one other over there somewhere. Looks like he's going. He's packing his stuff up. Alright, time to get set up. Okay, last camp for the trip. So I've double folded 2 blankets, so that means I've got 4 blankets on. You can see diagonal, otherwise it doesn't fit. But yeah, it's with a little bit of sadness I recognise the trip's almost over. It's been an epic journey. Did 716 kilometres today. And obviously it didn't let me down. Did it well. I'm going to stop now, and some of you might have heard as I came in the characteristic jingling of red wine bottles in a carton. So enjoy a glass of red wine as the sun goes down. Tuning out. Pleasant afternoon. Eating sort of snack food for dinner. Well, sunset in the back seat of a Morris 1100 with my little tiny thimble of wine. Cheers, everyone. I like that Venetian blind that I fit. Came with the car in a box. They're already expensive. I think they're like $300 or $400. Fell off as I was driving along. You've got to stick a screwdriver in here in that hole and lever it up, and this anchor point here telescopes in and out here, and it's held in place by this screw. So undo the screw, lever this between the rubber and the glass. So I thought I'd done that really decently, but yeah, it fell out. I'd have to fix it by the side of the road.